Today's Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. Welcome to the regular board meeting, the first of our new season with our newly joined and newly elected school board members. So again, congratulations to each of our school board members who went through this year's election and appreciate you signing up for this service to the community. Looking forward to working with you. This evening, we have a pretty light agenda, so if anyone wants to prepare comments from the public, we would love to hear from you, and we will have plenty of time for that. Let's now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high-achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community. Ms. Green, let's do roll call.
Dr. Aberly.
Here.
Mrs. Bell. Mr. Brett. Katie Davenport.
Here.
Mr. DeFranco.
Here.
Mr. Jordan. Mrs. McGranahan.
Here.
Mr. Needleman.
Here.
Mr. Bedard.
Here. Just one announcement, the board at its discretion may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations in Policy 006 meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following each board meeting. We'll move right into administrative reports, and I will turn it over to Dr. Yannicka.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard, and good evening, everyone. I hope that our Springfield community enjoyed quality time with family and friends during the Thanksgiving holiday. We are looking forward to the upcoming winter break in just a few weeks. As a reminder, students will begin their break on Tuesday, December 23rd, and are expected to return to school on Monday, January 5th. Offices will be open December 23rd, 26th, 29th, 30th, and January 2nd. Offices will be closed December 24th and 25th, December 31st, and January 1st. We are approaching the completion of the current phase of the middle school construction project and will open the new main office and entrance, faculty lunchroom and workroom, and one new restroom on January 5th. Information regarding parking to access the new main office will be sent to all middle school families on January 2nd. There will be no changes to pickup or drop-off. The next phase of the project will begin over the break and includes the conversion of the current main office and entrance to a clinical suite, the expansion of the cafeteria kitchen, and continued work on the auditorium. This next phase of the project is anticipated to be completed next summer. Families and staff are invited to join us on December 12th through the 14th at the high school auditorium for the middle school performance of Alice in Wonderland. Showtimes are 7 p.m. on the 12th and 13th and 2 p.m. on the 13th and 14th. Tickets may be purchased in advance using our online ticketing program or at the door. The Multicultural Parents Association will hold its next meeting on December 10th at 6:30 p.m. in the Enfield Library. Dr. Lutz will present an update on the Equity Action Plan and share results from our most recent survey of belonging. And congratulations to our boys and girls basketball teams who won the Orland Lions tournament over the Thanksgiving weekend. This weekend, the Spartan Wrestlers will host their own tournament at the high school on Saturday. Under agenda items, I'd like to point out under Human Resources that you'll notice a split of the personnel and conference agendas for increased clarity. This will continue for all remaining board meetings. In addition, under Personnel, I'd like to recognize Monty Tamburino's retirement. Monty has been a dedicated member of the district, serving as a bus driver since 2010. He also served as president of STESPA for many years. So I'd like to highlight his retirement and wish him well as he moves forward. You'll also notice a third item under Human Resources. This is a contract with Whistler Pearlstein for investigative services as needed. Because we already employ our solicitor, they cannot serve in this role. And so this is the contract for a current investigation underway. And then under Finance, we just have one item for your approval. That is the audit report. Mr. DeFranco will be sharing some information about that in his report on the Finance Committee's most recent meeting, so I'll leave that to him. And because typically in December we have a shorter meeting, we do not have a Spartan Spotlight for tonight, but I would like to just stay on a personal note. This is my transition week. I'm finishing up my first contract, and starting my second contract with the district. And I just want to say thank you to all of you and to the community for your ongoing support. I appreciate all the opportunities I have here to lead in an outstanding district, and I'm looking forward to staying with you until June 30th of 2030, if all goes well and you agree. Thank you very much, and that concludes my report.
Excellent. Any comments or questions on the superintendent report? I will just add a personal note. I'd forgotten this was your transition week since the contract was approved in the spring. But yeah, now I remember this is so. Thank you for the incredible service of your first contract term, and we do look forward to another excellent term. So looking forward to it. Okay, let's have some updates and reports. I believe we have some representatives from our homeschool partnerships. We have Haley Dennis and Nicole Willis or Nicole Willis. No, they're on Zoom. Okay.
So stand by.
We can also schedule an update for next meeting. It's not a problem. Okay. Sweet. Thank you.
Sure. I haven't read it. I haven't previewed it, so apologies. For the EHSP, as an update, there's some Zoom difficulties, so I'm jumping in to support them. Spirit Wear will have a pop-up that closes tomorrow, so look out for that information. I know I've personally seen it in newsletters and on social media, so for families that might be listening, check in there. The Square One Art fundraiser at Enfield closes on the 4th. Parents can order information or order items with their child's artwork directly from the schools via that Square One fundraiser. And the Holiday Kindness campaign is still ongoing with collections beginning 2026 planning that was mentioned at the last board meeting. That concludes the EHSP update. I can give the secondary HSP update really briefly. Notable for this month is that we are in active planning for a middle school wide dance. That'll be January 9th at 5:30 to 7 at the middle school. It's for all middle school students. We hope that they attend. Forthcoming in this week's newsletter will be links to buy tickets in advance. Tickets will also be sold at the door. This is in partnership with the Student Council. So Student Council is actively helping the secondary HSP as a layer of support. Families can also begin to look out for volunteer opportunities for chaperoning, either before to help set up, after to help clean up if their kids don't want them actively to dance. We'll also have opportunities for activities outside of dancing. So some art setup, some games, and some snacks will be available for purchase that supports the Student Council. So thank you for that. Any questions? If not, that's all I got.
Amazing. Thank you for the update.
Yep.
Thanks for jumping in. All right, we don't have a update from student representative this evening, so we'll move to Finance Committee meeting updates from Mr. Neil DeFranco.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. You said it was a light agenda, and then you're letting me give a report. So I'll try and be brief. I have a brief report for the last Finance Committee meeting, which was held on November 19th. Committee members in attendance, Mr. Bedard, myself, Mr. Jordan. From the administration, we had Dr. Mary Jo Yannicone, Ms. Green, Mr. Coleman. And then we had our student reps, Alessandra Santorelli and Ella Di Pasquale. I don't believe there were public attendees at the meeting. We began with the 2024-2025 audit presentation. Kara Green introduced Alex Frank from Barbicane, Thornton and Company. This is our new auditing firm. This is their first year working with the district, and both the administration and the auditors noted that the process could not have gone smoother. The on-site work was completed in late October, and the team reviewed the roles and responsibilities of both management and the auditors. At this time, we are anticipating unmodified opinions on all reports. There were no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses identified in internal controls, and fund balance usage for the year came in below what had been budgeted, which is good news. The firm used a standard risk-based approach, including inquiries of staff, a review of internal controls, analytical procedures such as trend and budget analyses, and a review of contracts, minutes, and agreements. In the general fund, revenues were $72,213,011, which exceeded budget by $867,286, while expenditures came in at $73,436,234, or about $1.4 million over budget, and other finance resources or leases were $572,539, which resulted in a net reduction of fund balance of $650,684. The budgeted deficit was $730,000 for the year. On pensions and OPEB, the district reported a decrease in both liabilities. Required payments were made, and the pension liability is paid through PESers rather than directly by the district. In capital assets, the district reported $106.7 million in net assets, an increase of $9.3 million, with $10 million in new additions. The district also reported a lease liability of $449,000 and $114.8 million in bonds payable, which is an increase of $4 million from the previous year. Required communications were all positive, no disagreements with management, no material audit entries, and full cooperation from staff. This was also the first audit cycle for Dan Coleman in his new role with the district. The district also underwent the required federal single audit, which produced a clean, unmodified result with no deficiencies. The federal compliance supplement has not yet been released, so the recommendation is to hold off on the final report until that supplement becomes available. The draft audit is on the agenda to be accepted at tonight's board meeting. We then moved on to the 2025-2026 financial status update. For the current year, the district budgeted approximately $74.8 million in revenue and $75.8 million in expenditures, with just under $1 million planned in fund balance usage. Through November, 72% of revenues have been collected and about 30% of expenditures have been incurred. We also reviewed the state budget, which was enacted the week of November 10th with strong bipartisan support. This was 70% in the House and 80% in the Senate. Statewide appropriations increased by $4.7 billion over the prior year. For Springfield Township, our basic education subsidy increased by $165,000, special education by $67,000, and Ready to Learn by $50,000. Cyber charter tuition reforms were also enacted, which should reduce our required contributions. Finally, we discussed the request for proposals for capital planning and retainer services. This RFP is intended to ensure we continue to receive the most competitive pricing and high-quality services for long-term capital planning. It does not impact CHA's ongoing work on the middle school project. Instead, it applies to the district's 5-year capital plan, and the awarded firm would also be eligible to manage projects within that plan if the district decides to proceed with them. The administration is building budgets with the understanding of a decreasing Act 1 index, and this process is part of ensuring cost efficiency. The next Finance Committee meeting will be held January 28th. January 28th, where we will review the 2026 finance plan and receive a capital project financial update. This concludes my report. If you do want more details, I encourage you to review the video. Thank you.
Awesome. Any comments or questions? Very good. Appreciate the updates. We'll now open it up for public comment on agenda items, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Needleman.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. At this time, we'll take comment on agenda items. I do not see that anyone who is joining us in person has signed up to speak. I also don't see that anyone who's joining us online has raised a hand to speak. I would remind folks who are joining us online, if you do want to speak on an agenda item, please raise a digital hand. At this time, I'll just remind everybody we do have a 3-minute time limit on any comment you want to make, and I'll ask that you identify where you live in the township before you make your comment. That said, I don't see any hands raised or folks who want to join in person, so I think we can close this out.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Needleman. We'll move into our topics for this evening. First, under Human Resources, we have Personnel. A recommended action this evening. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment. administrative personnel, confidential personnel, certified personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities for 2025 and 2026, and finally, resignations. Is there a motion? Thank you. And a second. Good. Any comments or questions on the personnel file? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And any abstentions? All right. That will pass. We'll move on to conferences. The recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the following conferences as presented in the attachment entitled Board Agenda Conference Attendance. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions on the conference attendees?
I would just like to add that I do appreciate them being split out. I think that makes it a lot clearer. So thank you.
Well done. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And any abstentions? Okay, that will pass. We'll move on to legal services. Recommended action from the administration is the Board of School Directors approved the letter of engagement for the law firm of Whistler Pearlstein to provide investigatory services for the district at a rate of $265 per hour for partners, $230 per hour for associates, and $125 per hour for paralegals per the agreement. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Got multiple seconds. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. And any abstentions? Okay, we're good to go on the legal services contract. Again, no academic affairs this evening. We'll move right to finance. First item here, and the only item this evening from finance is the audit report. So the Board of School Directors accepts the audit report for the year ended June 30th, 2025, as presented to the Finance Committee pending final peer review by Barbicane, Thornton and Company. Is there a motion? Thank you. And a second. Any comments or questions?
Question.
Yes,
I
please.
just want to note that this is a draft, not the official.
Yeah, it's a great question. And Ms. Green, do you mind giving the context on draft versus final?
Sure. Due to the timing of when the board has to accept the audit by the end of the calendar year, this is standard practice. It gets presented to the Finance Committee. It is in draft form where there is no anticipated material changes in the numbers presented. So it gets approved by the board in draft form with the understanding it still has to go through peer review. In the event that there are any major changes or any changes that are substantial that was presented to the Finance Committee, we will bring it back to the Finance Committee, and then we will have the final draft done by the board. But if it stands as it is through peer review, then the approval of the draft going into final, because it is really just formatting and putting it into the final document. That's the stuff that still has to happen in the Finance Committee as well. We had discussed about the single audit, and there was a holdup and a recommendation was to wait until things came down from the state because there was holdup at the state. So that kind of created a delay in providing the final draft as well. So we did not want to hold up the approval of that on just formatting and minor changes to the final form. But once again, if there's anything that's major that changes from what got presented to the Finance Committee, which is being approved tonight, that will go back in front of the Finance Committee, and then the final draft will be represented to the board as a reapproval. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
You.
And just so I'm driving clarity on this one, because I remember we talked about this at Finance Committee. We are approving the draft. And again, if there are any material changes, that has to come back through both Finance Committee and the board.
That is correct.
Great. Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, that will pass. No items for policy or property, and so we'll move right to public comment on non-agenda items. Mr. Needleman.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. As before, we'll take comment at this time on non-agenda items. I do not see that anyone who is joining us in person has signed up to speak. I'll ask folks who are joining us online, if you do want to make a comment, please raise a digital hand. And I don't see any. And at this time, I'll reiterate that if you do want to make a comment, we do have a 3-minute time limit, and I would ask that you identify where you live in the township. All that said, though, I don't see any digital hands, nor do I see that anyone who is joining us in person wants to speak.
Okay, thank you. We do have some future meeting dates to announce. There's an interim board meeting tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, January 6th, 2026, which means we are officially scheduled into the new year. That's exciting. And we have a regular board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Those meetings, again, will both be hybrid, but always love having members of the public here. We meet in the library at the high school. We do have some committee meetings coming up. There's a policy committee meeting on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. That's at 5 p.m. and that's a virtual only meeting. And we have property committee meeting on Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. That's at 8 a.m. That is also virtual. All meeting details for our committees can be found on the school district website. Also note that because we've had turnover on the board, we are going to be reviewing the dates and times of our committee meetings. They are subject to change, but any changes would be posted well ahead of the meetings on the website. So stay tuned. All right, with that, I want to open it up to the board for any closing comments. Great. From my desk, I just want to again congratulate our newest members. Thank you for signing up for service, and our continuing members for your continued service. And congratulations again on your continued service, Dr. Yannicone, with the commencement of your new contract. And with that, well, no, I'm going to ask you if you wanted to say anything.
No, I feel it's all been said.
Wonderful. We will adjourn for the evening. We'll see you all next time. Thank you.